Hello! I am recording my Q&A finally. I've been trying to do this for a couple days, but I've been live streaming a lot and then I just get really distracted having a good time and then I don't have time to record a video. Here it is. I'm doing it. I wanted to say something about Q&As. I don't entirely remember my thought process now, but I was kind of just thinking about how I find it interesting that when answering questions, whether it's consciously or not, we all kind of want to cater our answer to a specific person or audience. And most of the time it's very subconscious and not super intentional, but I think that, I don't know, I just thought it would be interesting to do another Q&A after thinking about that and see kind of how I answer the questions and think about what's causing me to answer the way that I am. It doesn't inherently make the answers dishonest when people sort of subconsciously cater their answers to certain people, but it's like a selective choosing of which truths you want to talk about in order to appear a certain way. I don't know, it's interesting to think about. So I didn't really read the questions beforehand. I'm just gonna kind of rattle them off and answer them however comes to mind, because the last two Q&As that I did, I recorded them 4 times each, just because every time I was like, oh, I could have answered that way better, oh man, I said this movie, but this movie I like and it's way cooler. So anyway, I don't know if that made sense, but I'm gonna start the actual Q&A now, so here we go. Who is your biggest style and makeup inspiration? I don't know if currently I have any specific ones that I can think of off the top of my head. I talk about this a lot, but I have always just really been inspired by music and musicians and bands with very vivid imagery to go along with their sound. And obviously, probably, I have drawn a lot of inspiration from a lot of very emo bands. A lot of my inspiration still follows through from when I was 14 and started getting into this sort of style. So yeah, I don't know. I try to take inspiration from everywhere. But as far as people go, I don't know. How much time does it usually take you to do one look? I try not to time myself, because I feel like that takes away some of the fun. It really depends on what I'm doing and why I'm doing it and what I'm doing while I'm doing it. I don't know, it's very situational. If I'm live streaming while I'm doing my makeup and I'm just having a good time and talking to people and just kind of goofing around while I'm doing it, then it can, last night I was live streaming for 3 hours and it was a pretty simple look, but I was just having a really good time with it. If I'm just by myself and I'm just really into trying to portray a certain image, then I can still spend hours on it and just really get sucked in. I don't know. It can range anyway. Typically, I guess they would maybe average about an hour and a half or so, but I could do makeup faster, I could take longer. Doesn't really matter to me. But I will say I don't like being rushed with makeup, because to me, rushing makeup makes it feel like something that I have to do rather than something that I want to do, and it makes it feel less like painting. And my intent is always for it to just feel like I'm painting. How do you get your ideas for makeup? There's a lot of different ways I get ideas for makeup, I guess. My chair is creaky. I don't know, there's a lot of different ways that I get ideas. Sometimes I'll see a specific color or a specific shape, or I'll just really want to try this one specific thing. I think most of them are typically just from building everything around one specific element that I want to do. Let's say I'm really feeling using the color red, so I'll kind of build everything around that. Or I really want to try a certain style of cut crease, so I'll kind of build everything around that. I kind of visualize everything color blocking and in terms of abstract shapes, and I kind of build everything around whether I want things to be very rigid or very fluid or a mixture of both. I try to think about different elements of femininity and masculinity and how much of each I want to incorporate, and I sort of just have these different categories. Picture it like a sound mixing board with all these different little switches and levers and buttons and different scales, slidey little things. I don't know what they're called. And there will be one will be crisp lines and blended shit. And then, you know, I'd kind of just slide around there and figure out where exactly I want to be. And then, you know, color or black and white, and I figure out where I want to be on that scale. I feel like that doesn't entirely make sense, but I don't know, that's just how I see things, and I kind of just build looks in that way. But I feel like that answers a lot of questions that I get about how I do my makeup, so I'll leave it, I guess. Any skincare routine? I've gotten this a lot lately, especially since I stopped wearing foundation. Honestly, I don't have anything like in particular, and I'm not gonna like specifically recommend anything just because everybody's skin type is different, so like I can't tell you what's gonna work for you. I was using Dark Angels from Lush for a while, but like it's expensive, so I'm not using that right now. And then I use coconut oil to take off my makeup, and I also use it as a moisturizer and to remove any makeup that I missed, and just to kind of like as a toner, I guess. I'm not entirely sure what that is, but whatever. I use witch hazel just on a little cotton ball after I've washed my face. And that's it. Just like whatever soap I have and coconut oil and witch hazel. That's just what I use. Being vegan has definitely affected my skin a lot. I don't think I ever had like really, I don't want to say bad because acne isn't bad, but I never had a lot of acne. But I definitely did have pretty bumpy skin, and I would get a lot more breakouts. But I've noticed that minimize a lot. And it's not entirely my skincare routine. It's just, I feel like most of it is diet. What camera do you use? I have always just used my phone. I started out using my iPhone 4. Now I have an SE or something. Whatever. I've always used my phone. So just some tips for like getting the best quality you can out of your phone. First off, use the back camera, not the front camera. You're going to get way better quality right off the bat that way. Second, if you don't have any like professional lighting or like soft boxes and shit, just sit in front of an open window, because natural lighting is going to be like the best always. The better your lighting is, the better the quality is. And a third tip, which I didn't know for a while, and I didn't actually use it until kind of more recently. I don't know how this is for like Androids. It might be the same, it might be a little bit different, might not have this feature, I don't know. But at least for iPhones, when you're on the camera, if you tap and hold on like your face or whatever you're trying to focus on, it will like lock the focus, and then you can slide up or down to change the exposure. And I always turn it down a little bit just because I like the look of having it be a little bit more shadowy and not like super overexposed, because I personally use like this little softbox thing and it just makes everything super bright. Anyway, that's my tips for that. I've always used my phone. What's your favorite eyeliner and what's your favorite lipstick? My favorite eyeliner and lipstick are the same thing. It is Sleepwalker by Black Moon Cosmetics. It's just a black liquid lipstick, and it is the darkest black that I've ever used, and it just sets really, really nicely. And I use it for pretty much all of my like graphic liner. I've used it for drawing on eyebrows. I use it for just like, you know, whatever I draw on my face that's black, and just for black lips. It's just really, really opaque, and I don't have to set it with eyeshadow. It's nicer to use liquid lipstick as an eyeliner sometimes, just because I do really, really thick liner sometimes, and so I don't want to use up all of my eyeliner because I use eyeliner pens. I like eyeliner pens a lot because you can get really precise with them, but I like them more just for like outlining or for regular liner that's not super thick. I also use that if I'm just doing like a black smoky eye, because it is darker than any black eyeshadow I have and have ever used, and there's no fallout from it, and they blend really nicely. And then I just further blend out the edges with eyeshadow so that I use like the minimum amount, so that there's like the minimum amount of fallout. What bands do you listen to? I talk about music all the time, and I think that in both of my other Q&As I talked about music and answered this question, but I kind of just want to keep answering it, just because like obviously your music tastes change over time, and like every time that I get asked this, I'm usually listening to something different. I listen to pretty much everything, but lately I've been super into the Black Keys and Queens of the Stone Age and Highly Suspect. Those are probably my top 3 right now, and I've also just had like a bunch of other like obscure kind of indie music and alternative music, and just more like chill stuff I've been really into lately. I'm not really like good with genres, but that's what I've been into lately. Do you ever feel like your makeup looks are restricted because of the type of mindset of normal people or the majority of people have? Yes and no. No, because my version of restricted is not necessarily what other people's version of restricted is, because I obviously still look strange. But I do find sometimes I do still find myself like accidentally, like not totally consciously trying to cater to a specific look and look more like normal in some aspects. Sometimes I just fall into a realm of being too comfortable and it ends up being sort of normal. And when I say normal, it's like, just, for my own personal definition and speaking to like some stereotypes and what's trendy. Like lately I've found myself feeling a little bit too comfortable and trying to just keep it a little bit more safe and play in what's really, really feminine as well, which I find is also very safe. I don't know if that really answers the question, but how did you learn to do makeup as talented as you do? Okay, so this question and like variations of this question I get a lot, and I get a lot of people also asking like how they can learn to do makeup that's like as good. So like, okay, here's my opinion. Here's my spiel on this. There is no good or bad makeup. Makeup is purely an art form. When it comes to art, there is no right or wrong way to do it so long as you are not hurting anybody or limiting anybody else's freedom. But there is negative and positive emotions that it can evoke from doing it. So if you do makeup and you feel bad about it because you don't like the way that it looks on you, it doesn't pull out the features that you wanted it to, it doesn't portray what you wanted it to portray, then it's easy to feel like you are bad at makeup or that you've done a bad job. But I think it's really, really important to kind of change the dialect that we have towards makeup and just like expression in general, so that instead of saying things like we are bad at it or that we look amateur or are performing poorly, we need to kind of start focusing on just how it makes us feel, because that's really what's important and that's what you're trying to connect with, right? Is like a certain feeling. So that rather than saying we're bad at it or anything along those lines, it's more just this doesn't make me feel the way I wanted it to make me feel, so I need to use that as a learning experience to figure out what I would rather do and what would make me feel good about it, and then I need to work on practicing that. So if you do something and you create something, you do a look and it doesn't make you feel the way that it hoped or that you hoped that it would make you feel, it's easy to just be like, oh well, I'm bad at makeup, I can't do it right. But instead I suggest trying to just analyze it and figure out what aspects of it you do and don't like. Kind of study your facial structure, figure out, what it is you like and dislike, and just sort of use it as an opportunity to learn about yourself and just kind of delve deeper into introspection. Figure out your own kind of scales like I was talking about earlier. And through doing that, even if a look doesn't turn out how you hoped, it's still, you can still look at it as good in a way because you're learning more about it. So, okay. What would you like to happen to your body when you die? What was that thing that Diogenes said? I'm pretty sure he said something along the lines of like throw me over the wall with the dogs and give me only a stick to defend myself or something. And he's like, hold on, what did he say? Hold on. And the guy says something like, you'll be dead, like why will you need a stick if you're not even aware? And then he's like, if I lack awareness, why does it matter what happens to my body? Something like that. What for you makes a life meaningful and worth living? Art, creation, philosophy, and introspection, and human connection. Those are pretty much the fundamentals of what I care about. What is your favorite type of literature and or art? Okay, So for literature, I really like anything that's philosophy, psychology, math. I also really enjoy poetry. I'm going to be very broad with my favorite types of art. Music is probably my favorite. And then like physical expression. And I actually really enjoy videos. Specifically music videos I really, really enjoy, and I've always had a very strong connection to, just because it's like the combination of music and like a very strong visual, and it just creates this like complete package that makes me feel a way that like nothing else can. I think that's all the questions I'm going to answer today, but I might make another one with some more of the questions that I got here, because there was a lot. I would like to, fingers crossed, knock on wood, I would like to in the future get into some more hefty topics, but currently I feel like I'm sort of just keeping it basic, just because I need to strengthen my communication abilities, I suppose. Work on like verbalizing things, because I feel like that's one of my weak areas, which is partially why I am making videos at all, because I'm trying to like, and live streaming and making videos is getting me like more comfortable with verbalizing things. I kind of use typing, like writing online, as like a safety blanket, because I can edit it over and over and over, and I can make sure that it's exactly what I want to say. And I've just kind of gotten used to that, so I've become like very oddly self-conscious of like verbalizing things out loud. So the more comfortable that I get with that, the more I can make some more meaningful things, I think. Anyway, I hope that was interesting. Thank you for the questions. Let me know if there's anything in particular that you want to see on my channel, whether it be makeup looks or something miscellaneous, or something you want me to talk about, whatever. Thank you for watching and hanging out and enjoying what I do. I appreciate all the support that I get from everybody. I don't know how to end it. Bye!